Hi everybody, this is Josh, and in this video I'm going to be providing a very brief introduction to the Create Problem Development System. And in particular, I'm going to be focusing on our plans for the Stage 1 rollout of this system, where we make it available to the core T&E reviewer team. So at the moment this team comprises the pen side of GJI and members of what was formerly called the vetting board. So to get us started, the goal of this tutorial is to introduce the basic functionality of the problem development system. And in particular, I'm going to be focusing on what we're calling the reviewer and the decision maker roles. So essentially everything that was formerly taken care of by the vetting board. And the two main how-tos I'm going to cover in this video are first, how to provide feedback on problems and metrics that have already been added to the system, and second, how to identify and delegate next steps for a problem once reviewers have had a chance to provide their feedback. A few things that I won't be covering in this video are how to add new or revised problems to the system, because while we don't imagine this is going to be a very complicated process, it does change the way you're going to interact with the system a little bit, and we figured it would be easiest to start as simply as possible. I'm also not going to be talking too much about the other roles that one might take on when interacting with this system. For example, we talked at the kickoff about the role of the problem steward, which is an individual from either T&E or one of the performer teams that's responsible for shepherding a given problem through the various stages of development. And I'm also not going to talk too much about performer access to this system, or indeed access that might be granted to, for example, outside consultants, as T&E and IARPA haven't yet come to a consensus on how we want outside entities to interact with this system. But back to the system itself, as you'll see in this video and the several that follow, the problem development system has two main pieces. The first of these pieces is Basecamp, which most of you should be familiar with already. And in the context of problem development, Basecamp is going to act as essentially your dashboard or your home base for problems and metrics project management. So Basecamp is where you'll go if you want to take a look at where the problem portfolio stands, if you want to check in on the status of a particular problem, or to just generally assign problems to different people to accomplish certain tasks. The second piece of the system will be Google Drive, which will essentially provide us with a shared forum for providing quick, clear, iterative feedback on problems and metrics documents. Although for the moment it should be noted that a lot of the feedback in the very early stages of our rollout will not be particularly iterative, because as I mentioned, we're not going to be covering how to add revised problems to the system. So just to recap, Basecamp is going to be your dashboard for taking a look at where we stand overall, the status of a given problem, who's assigned to what work needs to be done. Google Drive is going to provide a shared public space or quasi-public space where members of the reviewing team can go to read through problems, provide edits on problems, comments, feedback, etc. And so in this tutorial, we're going to provide a brief overview of each of these two systems so that by the time the system is rolled out, everyone feels comfortable with how they're going to be used.